Informative, enlightening, provocative, engaging. The Lunchroom on RCI. Food for thought. The station that gives you, more lunch.
And good afternoon. Welcome to the Lunchroom on Radio Caribbean International for Friday, August the 8th, 2025. And this is program number 1423 of the Lunchroom. I'm your host, Calix George Jr. Now, in addition to radio 101.1 FM, you can, of course, also get us streaming live on our website, rcistlucia.com. And we are also streaming on our Facebook page. You just have to search for the official page of Radio Caribbean International. And, of course, be sure to like and share that link as well with your friends and family. And, of course, if you want to call in to tell us what's on your plate today, the number to do so is 452-3046. Again, 452-3046. And you can also reach us on our WhatsApp platform. That number is 724-0008. You can call in or you can message in on WhatsApp. And, again, that number, 724-0008. Now, in just a bit, we're going to be speaking for our dish of the day on the matter of medical tourism and the recent launch of Orbital Well. And we've got some representatives of Orbital Well in studio with us to share about the opportunities for medical tourism through them. But before we get to that, we just want to send out some birthday greetings to Mr. Petrus Compton. Happy birthday to you, sir. Hope you're having a fantastic day. And also to Miss Nadia Kazabo. Happy birthday to you, Nadia. And we do hope that you're having a splendid birthday weekend. A bit of history for today. We look back in time into the year 1609 when the very famous Galileo Galilei presented his telescope, and that was to the Venetian Senate in Venice, Italy. 1786 on this day, the U.S. Congress unanimously chose the dollar as the monetary unit for the United States of America. 1945 on this date, the Soviet Union declared war on Japan during World War II and invaded Manchuria the following day. 1974 on this day, U.S. President Richard Nixon announced that he was going to resign at 12 noon the following day. And in 1988 on this day, a ceasefire between Iran and Iraq took effect after 8 years of war. We now head on to our dish of the day.
One tiles for your home, I see. Bathroom, kitchen, pantry. Need tiles for your balcony. Come down to Tiles Plus, satisfaction guarantee. Tiles Plus, Tiles Plus, Tiles Plus. Big tiles with unbeatable cost. Customer service, A+. There's all kind of tiles. Come down to Tiles Plus. We also got gas and vanity. Box, doors, you'll see. Come down to mind nobody. We got the best tiles on island. Trust me. We are located Land Street in Castries, Bosses, Jugozi Lanes, and Flag Street in Beaufort. Telephone number 453-7939.
Serving now, the Daily Dish.
And welcome back to our program here at the Lunchroom on Radio Caribbean International. Now, of course, healthcare is always important for everybody. It's a really important aspect of surviving, of being alive, of being healthy, of being productive. And quite often that requires medical care, medical treatment, medical procedures, and sometimes it's not always available right here in St. Lucia. We do know, of course, our limitations in that regard, and I believe our guests here today have an answer for many St. Lucians out there regarding this matter. And they're called Orbital Well, and we've got three of their representatives here in studio with us. And I think we're going to start off with the director of Orbital Well, Albina Setaj Augustine, who is right here in front of the mic already. Thank you for joining us here at RCI.
Thank you. My name is Albina Setaj Augustine. I'm the founder of Orbital Well.
We couldn't do some introductions one time. Yeah, sure. Go right ahead.
And I'm Adeboale Adesina. I'm a medical doctor, and I'm one of the founders of Orbital Well.
Wonderful.
All right, so I am Dr. Kedmador, general practitioner in St. Lucia, also international healthcare manager, and representing the agent for Orbital Well in St. Lucia, which is Borsati Inc., and part of the team, the Orbital Well team. So you have
Okay,
a
we
strong
just repeat the last name. What ink?
Borsati.
Borsati. Okay, yes,
is
yes.
a local
Right,
clinic
yes,
here
of course,
in St.
on
Lucia.
Chisel Street, yes.
And we have graciously accepted the opportunity to be the agent for Orbital Well. So we're the ones that will be bridging that gap between St. Lucians and the Orbital Well team to allow for that access to the care that you mentioned earlier.
Wonderful. Thanks so
Yes,
very
yes.
much, Dr. Doe. Albina, let's try to start off with you in terms of getting a sense of what is Orbital Well.
So, my name is Albina St. Augustine, as I said. I'm also a nurse. I'm actively working in the United Kingdom. I'm a specialist nurse in emergency care. So the idea of Orbital Well came to me because, I'm originally from St. Lucia. I visit every year. My parents are in St. Lucia. My friends and family are all there. And I visit every year. And I've noticed that there is a gap in the healthcare. The hospitals are okay. We go to Martinique and the United States, the US, for specialized care. But one thing I noticed that it's very expensive. And I felt that I should do something about it, something to bring back to the community where I'm from. And the idea dawned on me that if I shop around for healthcare and we can get a hospital or a country that is specialized in medical tourism, we can bring that back to St. Lucia and help the people of St. Lucia. Dr. Ade works with me in emergency care in a busy A&E hospital in London. I brought the idea to him. We flew over to India. We visited the hospitals, and then we formed this company called Orbital Well, and here we are. We launched on the 6th of August, and we've gotten a very good reception. The Ministry of Health, they know about us, and they're happy and excited about the future for Orbital Well in relation to St. Lucia.
Thanks so very much for that introduction. Now, of course, Albina, many people will be asking this whole idea of medical tourism. I mean,
Yes.
what is that exactly?
Yes. So I would like Dr. Ade just explain in detail about medical tourism.
Okay, so medical tourism basically just means, it's just a fancy word to say getting healthcare from anywhere around the world, basically. So it's, as we all know, the world has become a global village. You can get services from anywhere around the world. So why can't we do that for healthcare? The truth is that some services cannot be available everywhere. So, for example, whilst people of Nigeria Republic in Africa would like to have shoreline and oceans and nice beaches, they just can't have it. They're in the deserts, we have in St. Lucia, so they need to come to St. Lucia for holiday. And same thing vice versa too. If people Lucians need holiday in Sahara, they will have to go to Middle East. So same thing applies to medical tourism. Some services, because of the complexity and the number of cases that you see, are better taken care of in some other parts of the world. It just makes sense to do it in those parts of the world, because maybe you might see one case in St. Lucia in 1 year. So you can't keep a specialist here. You can't even bring the specialist in because the equipment will not be available to do the procedure. So you have to go elsewhere. And these industries developed over the last few decades, and it's everywhere in the world that people go to other parts of the world for tourism. The biggest medical tourists are Americans, even though they have one of the most sophisticated healthcare in the world. Actually, hundreds of thousands of Americans travel around the world to seek medical tourism. The same thing in Europe, in China, in Russia, everywhere is going to where they can get healthcare in the world.
Partly because it's so expensive in the United States, especially.
Partly because it's expensive in the United States. Partly sometimes it's the waiting time. So I need a procedure. Locally, I can only get in 6 months or a year. Whereas if I go to another part of the world, I can get it within 2 weeks.
Right. And I
Why-
imagine like
Exactly,
an
and the
example
same
in the
quality.
United Kingdom where
Exactly.
you have the NHS.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
long waiting
waiting
times
times
because it's
and across Europe and
probably
other
Europe.
places as well.
Right.
Yes. So those are some of the reasons why medical tourism developed. Sometimes it's specialized care, sometimes it's experimental care. When I mean experimental treatment, it may not yet be approved across the world, but it's available. And it may be the only thing that's available for that condition. So rather than suffer or die, a patient might choose to actually go for the experimental treatment because it gives them hope, and it may not be available within their country or in the
Right.
region, So,
Yeah.
so those are some of the reasons why medical tourism has developed, and the cost, of course, is another thing. You can shop around just like we do with other things as well, and get it cheaper elsewhere with same quality or similar quality.
Now, of course, I think, especially during COVID, there was this realization that India was the pharmacist of the world. I think it was sort
Correct.
of characterized. Vast amount of pharmaceutical expertise, and of course, they were producing lots of that. But you seem to have eyed India as the go-to destination for medical procedures, tourism, if you like.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the rationale for that.
Okay, so one of the reasons is what you've just mentioned. India is capital of the world when it comes to pharmaceuticals and to also medical equipments. Now, that makes it cheaper to have big hospitals there because they manufacture these things. It's available locally. They don't have to pay tariffs to export it and other things like that. So it makes it cheaper to have it. Also, the government deliberately invested in medical tourism to make the services available, tax incentives, so investors, also to all the other things that support the ecosystem. And so the travel, they made the visa easy to get, airport pick up, and also accommodation for the patients and their relatives. So it makes it so easy for patients to come around. And the industry has grown there in India. It's getting close to 5 million people now that visit India every year for medical tourism.
Wow, that's a pretty big number.
It's a big number.
And where are those people coming from currently?
So from all around the world, from Europe, from Africa, from the US, from the Caribbean as well. We've met people that have been to India for treatments. In the process of forming this company, we've discussed with a few people that have been around there. So it's all over the world.
In fact, funny enough, the meeting I just came from, somebody happened to mention somebody going to India for a knee replacement, I think it was, or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's pretty interesting that this is coming up here today. So why would I want to choose medical tourism? I mean, it going to another country in and of itself has its own risks, and the idea of having to travel. I mean, India is not too close. You're clearly talking about at least 2 very long flights.
Yes.
Why is that, even with all these considerations, still attractive?
Yeah. So first, the type of hospitals we are choosing are world-class hospitals. They are accredited internationally in the United States. And this accreditation is a very rigorous accreditation, which they have to maintain. Otherwise, they get taken off the list. So you can be sure of the quality of care you're going to get from there. It's the same quality at top-notch hospitals around the world, like Harvard or Johns Hopkins or King's College or Oxford, teaching hospitals. So that's number one. Number two is that we have evidence to show that even when you include the cost of travel, plus accommodation, plus other, things that you're going to need in logistics, you can still save up to 50% of what of the treatment that you will get typically in Europe or in the US. Sometimes even more. You can save up to 80%. So cost-wise, also makes a lot of sense. It then makes it accessible to a lot more people, not just the rich people. A lot more people can access this quality care, which they wouldn't have been able to if they just restricted themselves to, local treatments or to the US or to Europe alone.
And maybe, Dr. Doyle, you might want to join in here and speak a little bit to the certain types of patients that you may end up having to potentially be referred towards seeking out medical tourism options in India?
So I'd like to first start off and say that St. Lucia, we have a wide variety of specialists, we have a wide variety of medical providers that in no way are we trying to say that they are not able to. But as Dr. Ade was mentioning, very often you'd have cases such as complicated knee replacement that you mentioned earlier, complicated cardiac cases, complicated neurosurgical cases that most times either the equipment is not here or the specialist itself is not available on island. And like Dr. Ade would have mentioned, that has a lot of factors to do with it. In every single industry, very often you'll come across numbers. Numbers will determine a lot of what we do. So having a cath lab here, for example, that's where that's a cardiac related sort of procedure. Sustaining that for our population, it really won't make sense financially. So you'll not see us having one here, or if we do have one, it might probably be to service more than one island, and that's for a different story, yeah? Mm-hmm. But in terms of us here, the type of patients we would likely refer those patients who cannot seem to get the option that they need available locally. They would have searched. Our physicians would have explained to them, yes, ideally this is what you need. Mm-hmm. Ideally this is what would help you take you from where you are to a better place of health. Mm-hmm. However, for whatever reason, be it skill set, be it resources in terms of equipment and infrastructure, we're not able to offer it. And these are the type of patients that we would come across ever so often, and like you just mentioned one a while ago, who has to go all the way to India to do knee replacement. Not that we can't do some of the procedures, we can, but there are quite a few that St. Lucia is not able to provide. And this is where Orbital Well, as our director mentioned earlier, this is where the idea came from. There are enough patients in St. Lucia, enough of our people who want and need some service that's not available here, but we have ways to meet it. Globalization is real. You know, India, yes, it's 2 long flights, but really and truly it's one small world. The more we go into the future, the more you realize how small the world is getting. And we could actually now share our resources a lot more than before.
Very, very interesting indeed. The process, let's speak a little bit about the process, because I think obviously people will be wondering,
how do you
do this? Obviously, there's certain things that have to be done locally, I assume, in terms of the diagnostics.
Right. So this could happen in a variety of ways, but for sure, we already established our website, and we have some directed numbers that we will give towards the end of the show to make persons get onto us. But you access our website, you access our app, and you will be directed to Borsate, which is located on Chisel Street, 36 Chisel Street. That's the clinic. And at Borsate, we have a local team of physicians that will then put together your case. So you would have seen a specialist here, an orthopedic surgeon, or your GP, whoever it is, and they say, hey, let's check out Orbital Well. We can't really do much more for you. I've heard of Orbital Well. It seems promising. Let's check them out. So you will be coming across to us. We take all the evidence, be it your labs, your investigations. If there's anything missing, we'll make sure that is done. It is packaged nicely, and we put it through our portal, Orbital Well portal, which is safe and secure. We have ensured that confidentiality and all the HIPAA rules are actually being practiced and followed, and that is shared. And we have a specialist who will be able to respond within 48 hours. So within 48 hours, you will get a response. A specialist will be able to tell you, okay, good, I've received your file and this is what I can offer you. And then we take it from there.
There may be additional information,
So once we've met a specialist on the other end, the team that's agreeing to take on the case, they will then provide you, the patient, directly with what your options are, and the Orbital Well team will then be responsible for all of the logistics. And Dr. Adi can give you a little more specifics in terms of the logistics. So this is what happens in St. Lucia. You come to us at Varsity. We put everything together, package it nicely, send it across, and then Orbital Well deals with all of the logistics, getting you from St. Lucia to India and back. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so taking it from there, so what would usually happen is that, in fact, we can get you 3 specialist opinion. So it won't just be one, and then the patients can choose. We'll provide you with their resume, their experience, where they work, what the cases they've done, and qualifications, and the board certification they have across the world. And then the patients can choose. And also itemized breakdown of what's going to be involved, what, the cost, also we will discuss at that stage, so you can choose. What will not be included also will mention, to you. So we'll be very open about everything for the patients to then choose. Having gone through, maybe discuss with the members of the family and decide on what to do. So once you've then decided that you want to go for the procedure, we will then make arrangement for visa, which we can get within 48 hours, and also arrange for flights, to India. We have a team in India that will take you right from the airport and throughout your journey in India back to the airport on your way back home. In that period, you can access us 24/7 if you have any concerns. As Dr. Ked said, all your information will be available to the patients themselves on the app. They can access it, they can share whoever they want to, so including their images, their labs, and everything. So they are aware throughout what's going on, so everyone is informed. When they return back to St. Lucia, they will be going back to Dr. Ked and the team at Bonsate to do the follow-up that's needed. So everything is taken care of. We are like a one-stop shop where all you need to do is just contact us. We'll take care of all your needs. You don't have to worry.
Now, of course, the issue of risk is always a major one, and in terms of the requirements, in terms of insurance, protection. Speak to that a little bit. Is that?
I'll start, and then Bina will talk a bit more about that. So, in terms of the risk, so first we're starting with top-notch hospitals, so we know that they're reliable. They got the data out there. They do all these things. They're open and they're checked all the time. So that's the top, because you can go to some other dodgy hospitals, or anyone can just go on the internet and look for hospitals across the world. But it's at a risk. We have cases of organ what do you call it now? They steal people's organs in procedures, harvest and things like that. So that we've taken care of that. We're going to reliable hospitals. Also, one of the risk assessment is when you see our team at Bonsate in St. Lucia, they will make sure you're safe to travel and everything that's required from that point of view. Also, the funds will go through us, so you know that you're not going to lose your funds. So you give your funds to us, or we are aware when you pay the hospital. And if you don't use the service, for whatever reason you decide not to use the service anymore, we'll give you your money back guarantee. We'll return your money back to you. So we're taking care of that. In India, our team is there to take you throughout your journey. They'll hold your hand. If you want to do shopping, you want to go places, they'll be with you. Things that, signs are in the English language, so you don't feel like you're in a strange land. So you can read things. They can interpret things for you as well if you want to interact with the local population. And we will be partnering with airlines that are reliable, that we know that are reliable, and they go through these routes regularly. So we're in the process of talking. And then I'll leave insurance and things like that for Bina to address,
Okay, but just in terms of India, though, speak to that a little bit in terms of where are we speaking about specifically?
Oh, okay. So we got
how many hospitals?
So
what are the hospitals?
Yes, so we got several hospitals. We have signing MOUs with. So Apollo Hospital, for example, is a group of hospitals. We've got over about 75 hospitals in India across the major cities in Mumbai, Delhi, Hyderabad, Ahmedabad, and other places. We've got Artemis Hospital. We've got Fortis Healthcare. Which we are signing. They're all JCR accredited hospitals. And they take care of all ranges of things. So, the latest technology, CyberKnife, for example, for brain tumor, which is like military precision without requiring surgery. Normally, they'll open your skull to take out the tumor, but with these, there's no operation, and it can be done in 40 minutes, and it's safe. So those kind of top quality equipment. So we got links in all the major cities in India that you can fly to.
Okay, thank you. And yes, Bina, in terms of the issue of insurance and risk in that regard. Yeah.
So one of the things we've put in place to minimize the risk, we've got legal representation in India. We've got a lawyer in India at the moment. So if patients need to raise anything or they're not sure of any legal issues, they can contact this law firm. And also, if a patient wants to raise an internal issue, if they're not happy about something in the hospital, and remember these hospitals are JCI accredited, we'll encourage patients to raise the issue internally because the hospitals have a process of complaints. But it's essential, but it's not mandatory because, as Dr. Ade pointed out, the Joint Commission International, the headquarters is in Illinois. So if they feel they're not safe enough or they don't want to raise the complaint in the hospitals because they are presently there, they can go directly to the JCI Commission in Illinois and they would independently investigate what the problem is. Before patients leave St. Lucia, we encourage them to take travel insurance. We think it's essential. We will actively encourage it. I mean, travel insurance depends on what they've taken, can cover missed flights in transit, a loss of passport, or things like that. We are actively in conversations with insurance companies. We'll try to see them before we leave or have some virtual meetings with them so that they're aware of our company and what we offer. And if they don't offer it yet, they can tailor make it to us because sometimes you need the demand to actually offer the service. So these are the things that we've put in place to ensure our patients are safe.
Now, of course, there are people out there who are already providing some forms of medical tourism to different destinations around the world, maybe some to Martinique, some to, I think, Colombia, other, there's even Health City Cayman, I think, recently came through. What makes your model different, or you would say competitive compared to the others?
Yes. So what makes it competitive is, we've chosen India. Dr. Ade went through the arduous job of doing some price comparisons. I'll let him speak about that. And we found that in some cases in India, it depends on the procedure that you have. They're in some cases up to 70-80% cheaper than the United States, Martinique, or the United Kingdom. So that's what I think make one of the things that stands out our model, because we've done the research, we've walked the path. We've not just picked hospitals. Dr. Ade has visited the hospitals. I've gone to India. I've met the reps of the hospitals. So we've done a lot of research so to make it easier for the patients. Another thing that stands out, we have an app that patients would be able to download, and in the app you'll be able to see your notes, you will be able to raise a complaint. So we'll be with you all the way throughout your journey, and we think that stands out. Another thing that stands out, because it's not a direct flight, we offer a meet and greet service if you would like to. So you can go to India via the United States, I guess via Florida, or via the UK. If you choose to go via the UK, Dr. Ade and I will live in the UK. You will have a meet and greet service if there are any issues. If you want us to guide you through the transit, offer accommodation, you want a few days of shopping. Literally, we have a package that's bespoke to the patients. No two packages will be the same, depends on what you want. Another thing we offer, again, if you decide to go to India and for some reason you've changed your mind, we guarantee that we'll give you your money back minus the services that you've used. For example, if you've had an MRI scan, so you get your money back minus the MRI scan because you've had the scan already. So I think this money back guarantee is very important. It makes people feel safe and it makes them feel in control. And that's why we've decided to offer that. What makes us different, again, is the fact that we do not only accept one form of payments. We've got various forms of payments. If your relative from the United States want to contribute towards the payment of your procedure and only has credit cards, not necessarily cash, we do that. So, offer, you can pay via PayPal or credit cards. One family member can put something down towards your treatment. Somebody else in Australia can do it until when you've completed your payments, and then you are ready to travel. So I think that stands us out because we offer a variety a variety of payment methods.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would like to add to that.
Sure,
Yes.
go right ahead.
If you were to look at any health tourism, as you mentioned, you would hear few names such as Thailand, Singapore, Turkey, Malaysia, even Mexico, which is close to our region. And India is one of them that's right there. So that just goes to tell you that they've already packaged this concept as compared to the other options that are available. They take us to destinations that don't really have medical tourism. So they will not cater to the unique needs of someone who needs medical tourism services. So the time period, the waiting periods will be varied. If they're under pressure, you might not get your procedure done. You might not get to see the specialist as compared to somewhere that has medical tourism. They understand that these are the factors that make someone choose them. So they make sure they've addressed all of those, little issues and fine-tune them to allow it, yeah.
If I may also add that we're all active clinicians, and so our focus is healthcare. We're not about the money, but we want to make options available to patients because this is what we do. This is, we are actively involved in clinical care.
Now, you've recently launched here in St. Lucia. Are you active in any other jurisdictions at the moment?
Yes, I work in the accident and emergency department in London, so I'm actively working as a nurse at the moment.
Okay. No, I mean in terms of Orbital Well.
Orbital.
Into Orbital Well.
No, it's
So this is
not
actually
for
being launching for St. Lucia.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
but we
Yes.
we are going to expand to the other
Caribbean
Caribbean countries.
islands.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, in terms of anybody has gone through the program, do you have any potential testimonials? Anybody who's
Not yet. We've had loads of people who have inquired, and we've done the research for them. They've not actually left, but people have inquired. Like there was a gentleman who called me. He wanted to have a hip replacement. I did the research for him and found that it was a lot cheaper. He didn't eventually actually go with us, but we're still hoping that he will contact us. But we did develop a package for him.
indeed?
Yes.
I would think that Dr. Ade, while we're developing this, he has the experience. We have the experience of providing this, not as Orbital Well, but facilitating persons getting access to care. So this is where it came from. So we now formalize it, but it's not new to us, the entire concept, because we would have had friends, family, and friends of friends who would have approached, hey, how can I get this access to care? So we do have the experience in it informally, and now we've formalized it so that everyone can actually have a chance to get access to it. Yeah.
And in terms of interaction, because I mean, of course, when people are, they tend to want to have direct connections with the clinicians or the individuals who they in fact are going to be getting those services from. Is that part of? I mean, there will be opportunities for consultations directly with those clinicians.
Yeah, so as it would have started, here in St. Lucia, Boss at 18 holds your hands.
Right.
And as you get onto that flight, you meet with our Orbital Well team, who will then take you across to meet the clinicians on the other end, who will continue holding your hand, take you through the process, and then send you back to us. And we continue holding your hands throughout the journey. So we have ensured that it's a personalized and in tune with your needs. And we will, as our tagline goes, Candor Beyond Borders, we are there to be open and ensure that you clear every step of the way and understand what's happening to you, what's happening to the process. We will never leave you alone. That's our motto.
Well, it sounds pretty interesting, pretty exciting.
Yes,
And
it is.
of course, we do wish you the very, very best. But I'm sure you have, just to give us a bit of a wrap up in terms of how to connect with Orbital Well. And, people may want to know, how to take this on.
Yes, sure. So our website is www.orbitalwell.com. orbitalwell.com.
Just spell that out because some people might be hearing the name and it might not be.
orbitalwell.com. So orbitalwell.com. We could also send out emails to us at enquiries@orbitalwell.com. Enquiries spelled ENQUIRIES, enquiries at orbitalwell.com. Or you could reach us on WhatsApp on a local number, 758-723-7586. That's 758-723-7586. Or you could call the Borsate office on 758-453-1880. That's 758-453-1880 or 519-6175. That's too many numbers in one.
Quite a lot of numbers. But if you're looking for Borsate, you guys are on Chisel Street in Castries.
That's correct.
And at the same block with the Methodist Church.
That's correct.
For those who are
Ground
looking
floor
at.
there. So
Right.
orbitalwell.com. Check out our website. There is a link directly to Borsate, and Borsate's site also has a link directly to Orbital Well. So we've already bridged that gap. So once you look for us, you'll find it.
Facebook?
And also we're also on Facebook and Instagram, TikTok as well. We're just generating those reels for it as well. Yes.
Right.
So we'll be around and we'll be making our bigger splashes with time.
Thank you so very much. And of course, it's all about, more options and people knowing the opportunities that are available for them out there.
So many times we don't have that option, and now we just want to open it up so persons will not lose hope.
As of now, are you looking specifically in terms of certain types of procedures? Just give us a little sense of that. Yeah.
To give you a little sense of it is that you have to be able to take a commercial flight, because that's what makes it affordable. So we're not looking at someone who is going through an emergency. We're not looking at someone who has to see a doctor almost immediately, because beyond the 48 hours of securing the specialist, we guarantee that it can take as little as 10 days to sort out your visa and other arrangements, all right, to have you to go across. So, of course, that means nobody die emergencies, nobody has to do an emergency surgery, and someone that could take a commercial flight. So it has to be a stable condition in which we could actually provide your service.
Okay.
Yes.
So somewhat of elective surgeries.
So elective,
so
elective surgeries, complex cardiac procedures are not available on the island. Could be oncology for cancer treatments, some other specialized treatment like bone marrow transplant for sickle cell patients, and a few other things like neurology, that has to do with brain and the spinal cord. But then they're not emergency, but they might just be very debilitating for the patients and affecting the quality of their life,
And in terms of length of stay abroad, in terms of the travel, and
so that will be very clear to you from the beginning, and it'll be on a case by case basis. So let me give you an example. So for a hip replacement, the actual procedure in hospital, there are no complications itself. Everything will be about 5 days. Okay, then we would recommend that you stay in India for another 2 weeks for physiotherapy and other things that will make you health to go back on plane. So everything will be stated at the very onset, before you accept, how long the procedure is going to take and how much time you need to recuperate before flying back. Everything will be very clear, but it will be on a case by case basis. Yeah.
And of course, it would be advisable that you are traveling with a family member.
Yes, so that will take care as well. There's a special visa for a family member, and the accommodation they will stay outside the hospital is also all part of the package. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. And Albina, of course, thanks so very much for sharing this and for making this happen for your home country. And of course, I'll allow you just some parting words.
I'd like to thank you very much for having us here. For having us here today. This company is here to stay, and I'm really, really pleased to have brought this back to St. Lucia. It's like giving back. I left St. Lucia many years ago. I've been in the UK nearly 30 years now. So I've gone through my nurse training, and I've always wanted to give back something. And I truly feel honored that I'm able to bring back this great idea and to help my country and to help to improve the health of my country. And eventually, obviously, people are going to live longer. And I will be just so pleased. This is my contribution.
Wonderful. Thank you
Yes.
so very much, Alvina Setaj
Yes.
Augustine, Dr. Kedma Daw. And you just have to
Yes.
say your name again.
Dr. Ade, yeah.
Dr. Ade.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Representing Orbital Well and sharing with us your medical tourism opportunities for the St. Lucian audience. And of course, if you forgot all the numbers, you can just check out Dr. Daw at Bossate on Chisel Street. Thank you so very much. And of course, that's our dish of the day, and we're going to head across to take in our weather report.
This has been The Daily Dish.
One tiles for your home, I see. Bathroom, kitchen, pantry. Need tiles for your balcony. Come down to Tiles Plus, satisfaction guarantee. Tiles Plus, Tiles Plus, Tiles Plus. Big tiles with unbeatable cost. Customer service, A plus. Did all kind of tiles. Come down to Tiles Plus. We also got gasway and vanity. Box, doors, you'll see. Come down to my nobody. We got the best tiles on island. Trust me. We are located Lance Road in Castries, Bosses Grozile, and Flax Street in Beaufort. Telephone number 453-7939.
Girl, I've been so stressed searching for the perfect tiles to complete my home. Really? Yeah, it's always the same white, beige, and gray tiles with these tile stores. Like they're all buying from the same place. You're the design expert. Help me, please. I'm fed up. What are you looking for? Something different. Something that says Caribbean beauty and suits my personality. Something vibrant and classy with a little razzle dazzle. Okay, Ms. Razzle Dazzle, I know just the place. Island Style Tile and Bath, they're my number one store for everything tile. And with their new In Living Color collection, you'll find the most gorgeous styles to give you that splash of Caribbean flair you're looking for. That sounds perfect. I'll even take you myself and throw in a free design consultation. I'll never say no to that, sis. I can't afford you anyway.
Visit our Island Style showrooms in Castries, Rodney Bay, and Viewfort, or call 450-452 or 453 Tile. We'll help bring your vision to life in living color.
This is Radio Caribbean International. It's now time for the weather news.
And the forecast for St. Lucia valid for the next 24 hours. Winds will be blowing from between east, northeast, and near east, 20 miles per hour or 33 kilometers per hour. Weather fair to occasional cloudy with a few scattered showers. Forecast for the Lesser Antilles. Generally cloudy with a few scattered showers and an isolated thunderstorm over the far southern portion of the Lesser Antilles. Elsewhere, cloudy skies with a few scattered showers. Low-level clouds drifting along the wind flow will produce a few showers over the northern, central, eastern Caribbean. To the south, a combination of high moisture content and combination of high moisture content will increase in cloudiness, showers, and isolated thunderstorms within the next 24 hours. A tropical wave in the central Atlantic has a medium chance of developing into a tropical depression over the next 7 days. It is currently moving slow towards the west-northwest.
developing RCI's weather news. For more information, call the weather hotline at 454-3452. RCI 101 number 1.
With the style stores, like they're all buying from the same place. You're the design expert. Help me, please. I'm fed up. What are you looking for? Something different. Something that says Caribbean beauty and suits my personality. Something vibrant and classy with a little razzle dazzle. Okay, Ms. Razzle Dazzle, I know just the place. Island Style Tile and Bath, they're my number one store for everything tile. And with their new In Living Color collection, you'll find the most gorgeous styles to give you that splash of Caribbean flair you're looking for. That sounds perfect. I'll even take you myself and throw in a free design consultation. I'll never say no to that, sis. I can't afford you anyway.
Visit our Island Style showrooms in Castries, Rodney Bay, and View Fort, or call 450-452 or 453 Tile. We'll help bring your vision to life in living color.
And welcome back to the program here at the Lunchroom on Radio Caribbean International. Of course, we were just speaking to our friends from Orbital Well, just recently launched a provider of medical tourism options through India. And of course, India is certainly one of the rising powers of the world. It is, of course, the world's most populous country. And once upon a time, India and China, back in the 16th century or thereabouts, were in fact the largest economies in the world. And the ascendancy of India and China over the past couple of decades is certainly quite telling. It is definitely coming up considerably into this current world. And if we look back in time, I think you wouldn't think it, but it is certainly happening as we speak. Of course, Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister of India, was just recently here in the Caribbean. He was en route to Brazil to be part of the BRICS conference that happened over there, and visited Trinidad and Tobago. And of course, that opening up opportunities for Trinidad and Tobago. Of course, a very large East Indian population in Trinidad, as well as in Guyana, Suriname, and of course, much smaller one here in St. Lucia. But certainly, I think it's quite interesting when you actually look around, you realize that there are a lot of people who actually have East Indian descent here in St. Lucia. So definitely the idea of partnership through India is becoming a lot more popular. And in fact, I think quite recently the new Indian ambassador or high commissioner was here in St. Lucia, retired to the embassy over in Suriname. And so, like I said, interesting times indeed. The offerings there in respect of trade and now, of course, services with respect to India. They are leaders in business process outsourcing, BPOs. They're leaders in a lot of areas in the growth of tech. And so now, of course, in terms of medical tourism, the opportunities here are also instructive, of course. So good stuff, no doubt. Of course, today we did note that earlier on it was in our history of the day, the matter of the US dollar being selected as the currency for the United States of America. And the US has certainly become that the US dollar in particular has become the go-to currency for the world. It has become the reserve currency for many countries around the world. It's the currency of trade, and lots of places, of course, seek to tie themselves to the US dollar. Of course, right here in the Eastern Caribbean, we have a US dollar-backed reserve system, and of course, our currency being pegged 2.7169 EC dollars against the US dollars, having a fixed exchange rate. Of course, in other parts of the world, they have been able to amass considerable sums of the greenback, and it, of course, is a major factor in terms of U.S.-China relations around the world. So it is very interesting, of course, the matter that, of course, back in history, looking at it, that it was, in fact, selected on this day. The U.S. economy was not always so significantly ahead of everyone else. And I saw a very interesting infographic coming out of a platform called Serve Knowledge. And it actually said, well, it was a graph looking at how the world's largest economies looked in 1947 versus now. And back then, it would appear in 1947, interesting enough, India seemed to have been, according to this graph, the world's largest economy with about $270 billion in terms of its GDP. And the United States, the UK, and France at that time were actually at about $250 billion dollars each, respectively. Of course, India at that point in 1947 was literally just at the point of gaining its independence. It would have been part of the British Empire, and so, which of course kind of showed the extent of the influence of the British Empire then. In the case of China, according to this estimate, China's GDP was a mere $30 billion back in 1947. Of course, a very devastated Germany was only about $20 billion. And of course, the other major economies back then included Japan, which of course was very much decimated as well during that period, Italy, Canada, and Brazil. And moving from $250 billion in 1947, the United States now $30 trillion, $30.5 trillion today. Considerable size of economic activity. And of course, they are followed next by China. And these are nominal figures of GDP with about $19 trillion. And after those two major players, the next largest one is Germany with less than $5 trillion, about $4.74 trillion. Let's go taking a call at this time. Good afternoon. Welcome to the lunchroom. What's on your plate today?
Good afternoon, colleague George Jr.
How are you doing, sir?
How is your family? How is everybody?
They're very good. Thank you very much for asking.
Yeah.
And yours?
All right.
Okay, good.
I hear you rattling off figures by billions, and you have these things at the tip of your fingers, man.
I wouldn't say that, but no, I was just giving a sense of how things have shifted so tremendously in terms of the theoretical wealth of the world, and in particular the United States.
But you know, I'm awaiting you talking about. So you're not talking about Africa at all in that scheme of things? They're not there.
They have not even they did not even factor in Africa within that one.
They didn't factor in Africa.
It doesn't appear that way.
What about your research? Your research, what does that tell you? Inform you about?
Well, no, we have seen. Well, what we saw, of course, at that time in 1947,
the wealth of Africa.
A lot of it would have been extracted.
You're talking about a lot of countries that have currency, but no wealth as such, you know.
Well, that's the big question. How do you measure wealth? It's how you measure wealth, right? And we know that
the dialogue should more focus on
resources.
Africa,
on resources.
Yeah, I feel, because this thing is a dead herring, man. Because we've seen how it's going to crumble. You'd have to surrender to something else other than, some electronic currency or Bitcoin or some kind of thing like that, which, things that don't even have real value.
Now that's the point, caller. That is the point.
Yeah, we must change the focus, colleagues, and people like you must lead the way, man, because you have access.
But you have to. But then you see, you also have to make the point, caller, that as to
but you keep
where.
talking about this dead thing that all the time.
Okay, caller.
Germany. We know what they are. We know also know what they are all about. These people merciless because a doctor was saying that when she looked at and giving a graphic explanation of the process of starvation and how it's so painful for them to watch that a child die of it. And when when she really think about it, all she thinks of, a real concern is that the rest of the world, the Germany's, the England, the France's, the Americans will sit by and let that this sort of thing happen, So, my brother, there are a lot of good people still, You don't agree?
Of course I agree with that.
Because people like her could be in the comfort of the private practice somewhere, And she herself there with these people suffering starvation just as much as them, to a great extent. You know what I'm saying? Because how many doctors have been killed and nurses and healthcare people and, have suffered the same thing the people suffering. And yet still they do it. But you have never heard a country consign any amount of, say, the Germans are sending 300 doctors. Something, the British are sending how many things. And this kind of thing is going on and on. It reaches a stage, it's painful to listen. When you listen to even the very news, you will listen to BBC and things. That is, it's the same thing. It's just hurting you. If you believe and you stand for justice and equity and equality, it's so painful. Because the people who we always looked at and we model ourselves after, the England, the France, they don't really give a damn, colleagues. They don't really give a damn, Anything they're going to do is token, Look, the latest I heard that certain countries allowed, agreed to let Trump and his administration send people to the countries.
Right.
The people I speaking about.
The deportees, the person to be deported out of, yeah.
And here the countries, Rwanda.
Yeah, well, they've done that with the UK.
Can you believe that?
They've already done it with the UK.
Sudan, one of them. Sudan, they were praying and hoping. So many people that have been displaced and trying to leave that area there and to hoping that America itself would take in a few of them. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And you're telling me you're sending people to the Sudan and another African country, they call there again. What it is? Swaziland.
Mm. Okay.
Boy, I don't know. It's well painful,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I understand. You could understand why a young man, could just consider, well, boy, if this world has to continue that way, it's like there's no hope.
Mm.
We must take root. We must plant the seeds somewhere, And I think, we still have Africa. That because it's the hope, it's the new frontier for these set people who have destroyed us all these years. And we're still reluctant to make it You know, our new frontier. This is what we must be talking about.
We want to make it our last frontier.
Eh?
A lot of people want to make it the last frontier.
Exactly.
The last
so when
place to
we
go.
allow that, them to come and thing it there, finish it, then where will be our frontier? Eh? But Khaled,
We might be refugees, caller.
I think the modern intellectual,
And the refugee thing is not. I'm not being farcical, but I mean with
the modern
issues.
intellectual and the modern black academic who really wants to contribute to his people, his race, should change the focus. You know, this kind of stuff of jargon, and I hear people still go getting and dressing up and have people dressed up nice and sitting down and their hands full listening to this kind of speeches of this. You know, I mean, I say, you know, I really been kind of very, very cynical about that sort of.
Understood, caller.
That, yeah.
I said understood.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to leave it here, unfortunately, because our producer will get upset with us.
Yeah, I understand. You have
over
to.
time.
You're running over time, but you know. Khaled, anyway.
Thanks very much, caller.
Have a good weekend.
And have a good weekend to you too, of course.
Yeah, man, and think about it, man.
Yes. Take care. And of course, thanks to all those who've been listening out there. We do hope that you can also enjoy a very blessed and restful weekend as well. I'm your host, Alex George Jr., saying goodbye.